I think you guys were spot on. We'll get to our next topic, which involves a quarterback prospect in the draft. And last year, Tyvis on this very program pointed out that it felt like during the pre-draft process, Shedeur Sanders was recruiting the Browns. Now, he ended up being drafted by the Browns, not necessarily where he wanted or thought, but ended up being a Brown nevertheless. And now Ty Simpson is in a similar spot. He was on the Kay and Adams show yesterday, was asked about potentially playing for the Browns, and then was asked about Todd Monken, who we know he has a connection with. This was his answer to Kay Adams yesterday when asked about the new head coach of the Cleveland Browns.
Mr. Monken?
Oh, yeah, he's the man.
What do you
Coach
like about
Monken.
him?
Well, first off, right, he recruited me at Georgia. So, had a great relationship with him. And then, him coaching at Southern Miss, him and my dad got to, know each other pretty well. So I've known him for a long time. And then, when I got to meet with them at the Combine and, got to meet with them on a 30 visit, it was, just something, there's a, personality about him that, he kind of has that chip on his shoulder to where, he wants to, take the league by storm with his offense. And, he's very genuine and, cares about his players and cares about his coaches. And, the proof is in the pudding when it comes to, offense, right? Like you saw what he did with, at Georgia, saw what he did with Lamar, like, it just kind of, I think it's a quarterback friendly system and a guy who is willing to, change and adapt.
So, G, we know what happened last year. It kind of worked for Shedeur. Do you get the sense that Ty Simpson is now following a similar strategy and recruiting the Browns?
That's what he's supposed to do. He's supposed to be telling me, he's supposed to be jumping around because, I think Todd McShay said he has been hearing like he can go as high as number 6. He better be lobbying for everything. So if he can lobby to get teams to feel like, the Browns are involved, it helps him out because other teams might want to go after him, jump him. But are the Browns going to take him at 6? I don't think so. But that's what you're supposed to do. Shout out to him. Now, there is a background and there is a relationship with him and Todd Monken, as he talked about. But it looks like the Browns are going to go in a different direction. But I do think when I talk to Sean King, I think some team is going to draft him in the first round. I think he will be a first-round quarterback. And I think he came out at a draft because this was one of those years where we thought all these other quarterbacks were going to be ahead of him or it's going to be a great quarterback class. Turns out to be Mendoza. There's a void in the market. So I think Ty Simpson will come out. He will be a first-round pick. But will he be with the Cleveland Browns? I don't think so. But some team will take him in the first round.
Jason?
Yeah, I don't put anything into what he was saying. There's obviously a family relationship there. I think that's all he's alluding to. I mean, there's 3 teams in the top 6 that need a quarterback, and none of them really anyone believes are going to take a quarterback. So,
which I don't know.
The Jets.
I don't know.
The Jets.
No, but I mean, like, why do we believe that?
Because that's what the mock people are telling us.
Right, but we have.
But listen, you're talking to the choir because I've been making the point all offseason that we dismissed Jackson Dart as a potential option.
Right. And he didn't go that high. He didn't go top 6.
But he was a first round quarterback. So I'm with G. I don't think the Browns are going to take him. But I guess I wouldn't be totally stunned if they did, or if one of the other quarterback needy teams. I do think he's going in the first round. I don't think it's going to be a 1 quarterback draft. I think there will be at least 2 quarterbacks. And we're still moderately early in the process to where a name may rise again. There's always a stunner in a draft.
Yeah. All it takes is one, Jason.
Yeah.
All it takes is one team to say, I like this guy, and they take him.
I don't think it's crazy to think the Browns would take Ty Simpson.
I mean, they've needed a quarterback for 30 years. We talked about this before. They've needed a quarterback for 30 years. The best way to get a quarterback is to take him in the top 10. They've had a top 10 pick in consecutive years, and if they don't take a quarterback in either one, that's the most Brownsy thing ever. But if you don't think the guy's worth it, I see why you would pass on him.
Yeah, if you don't think he's a first-round talent, then you don't take him in the first round. But I think it would be silly for us to totally dismiss the possibility that the Browns would take him. I don't think those comments are him recruiting the Browns at all.
No.
He was asked a question about a relationship he has with the coach who happens to be the Browns coach.
That's all.
He really didn't even talk about the Browns. He just talked about the coach. So I don't look at it that way. But, I mean, we're so conditioned to think things are going to happen or not happen based on mock draft and rumblings. But we don't, like, coaches, organizations want to mislead you this time of year.
Of course.
Andrew Berry is not going to let out the truth about what he'd really like to do at 6.
Yeah.
Just
I
look
don't
at
even
last
know
year.
if he knows for sure at this point. Who knows?
Look what he did last year.
Right.
Called Travis Hunter generational,
Yeah.
can't miss, need to have him.
Yeah,
Both
you
sides of
have
the
no
ball
idea.
can be absolutely elite, and then trades back.
I don't think
what's the-
anybody outside of the organization really knows what the Browns are going to do at 6.
What do you think the percent chance they take Ty Simpson at 6? If you had
Less than 2%.
Your educated guess.
I feel like I'll give you a number, but I do feel like my guess is not educated because I don't have any real information.
Yeah.
What real information do I have? I'll say 10%.
Mike, you said 2?
I think, at 6, I don't think there's any chance it's happening at 6.
Why?
Very, very low.
Based on what? Give me one fact that backs that up.
I mean, why would you have any fact that it couldn't not be true? We're going off just speculation.
That's what I'm
don't think-
saying.
Just your.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying. So why?
I would
how
say-
could you be so definitive?
I
about
would
it?
say based on his
I-
his evaluation, based on some of the struggles he had at the last part of the season, I think that he is a first round quarterback. I don't think he's a first round talent, first top 10 talent, in my opinion. If
But
you
it
look
doesn't-
at it, if you go look at Sonny Styles, Caleb Downs, the players that you can get in the top 10, the value that they are in terms of their evaluation,
Yeah.
I think it's tough to squint and say I'm going to take.
I got an
But
answer
you
for
know,
you.
well, just 1 second, Mike. You know well that quarterbacks always go higher than maybe they should.
Yeah.
All the time.
That's why I'm putting him in the first round because I
Yeah.
do think somebody will overdraft him.
Yeah.
I got an answer for you, then we got to go to break. But based off the projections and how everyone looks, first round pick, I agree with you, G, but he doesn't have any elite trait. And the guys that skyrocket late are the guys that have the crazy arm you could talk yourself into, or the crazy 6'5", 240-pound size
What was Zach
that you
Wilson's
can talk
elite
yourself
trait?
into.
Well, they just
Crazy arm after the combine. Yeah, he had
it was the Jets.
Rocket Canyon. Simpson could be a good quarterback. I think his best traits are up here more than they are physical, and I think those aren't the kind of players that rise this late in the board. So that's why I'd be surprised.
I think they're looking
number
at
6.
2027, and that's why they're not taking him. Like that's my.
I think that has more to do with it.
I think they're looking at 27 quarterbacks.